Good evening, everyone. Welcome to one more book launch event. My name is Yashasvi Chaudhary, the host for today on behalf of Adyan Books. आशा करती हूँ कि आपको हमारे नए बुक्स के ऑथर्स से मिलना, उन्हें जानना पसंद आ रहा होगा। कमेंट सेक्शन में ज़रूर बताएं। आज हम जिस बुक के बारे में बात करेंगे, उस बुक का नाम है कनेक्टिंग टू सक्सेस स्टडी अब्रॉड, गिव विंग्स टू योर हायर स्टडीज विद स्कॉलरशिप्स। इस बुक के ऑथर हैं डॉक्टर जोसेफ थारकन। Dr. Joseph holds a PhD and was born in 1975 to father T.C. Matthew and mother Mary Matthew. He is an alumnus of St. Aloysius College, Thrissur, and pursued his master's degree at IGNOU, New Delhi. Subsequently, he completed his PhD from SMU, Singapore. Dr. Tharkan is a seasoned management consultant, international certified career coach, and an entrepreneur in the ED tech industry. With a track record of guiding over 10,000 students towards a higher education, a significant number of whom have successfully settled abroad. Dr. Tharkan currently serves as a director at Christ CACMA Mellon Middle East, JB IELTS, SMT International, and JB EduFly Academy Limited. आए अब इनकी बुक के बारे में कुछ बताना चाहूंगी. This book, Connecting to Success Study Abroad, Give Wings to Your Higher Studies with Scholarships. Even though many of our students perform excellent in their higher secondary level, a large number of them are unable to study the courses which are of their interest or passion. This book prepares the students to select the courses as well as the study destination with focus on their interest and potential careers. This book will lead to topmost careers available globally, thus making your studies meaningful. So let's welcome Dr. Joseph Tharkan.
Hi, thank you, Yashasvi. I'm very glad that you invited me for this session for my book, and I'm more than happy to let the students and the parents know the opportunities available for students for the international education. Thank you once again.
Yeah. So, yes. So, hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. And you?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. So, congratulations. आपकी बुक Amazon पर लाइव हो गई है. तो कैसा लग रहा है आपको?
Yeah, I feel honored actually, to be very frank, because once this book has been published in Amazon, and I get some of my students they call us, and they are like many of the students they want to know what is like education, international education is all about. So the book talks in detail about the countries where the students can have a bright future and settlement options, as well as we are talking about the scholarships options for the students as well in that one. So in general, I am very pleased that this my book has got a wide coverage.
Great. So, सर अब हम आपकी बुक के बारे में बात करेंगे और ऐसे जैसे हमारे व्यूअर्स हैं जो वो आपकी बुक और आपके बारे में अच्छे से जान पाए. So, first of all, I would like to know more about what you do.
Yeah, I'm into this in the education business. I'm more of like doing connections with the universities in UK, Ireland, USA, Australia, and New Zealand. So these are the countries where we have direct connections with the universities. We are partnering few of the international universities Indian division channel, and I also do have operations in the Middle East, especially in Dubai. So we have the other assistants for recruiting students from Middle East as well. This is the core business what we are doing it at the moment. And apart from that one, we are helping the students in getting their English proficiency and German proficiency done. We have the institutes running for that as well. In general, we are talking about the students getting more exposure to the international market, whereby they can get better careers and they can get permanent residency options, and probably they can settle out with their family as well in those countries. So, in short, we are giving opportunity for our young India students to have an exposure outside India, and probably they can come back to India with the abundant of international experience, and they can probably earn more in India as well.
Okay, okay, great. So now I would like to know that how was your childhood? Did you read books? Do you love to read books in your childhood?
Yeah, actually, I mean, I like reading a lot of books. Especially, I was into this philosophical kind of books more into rather than going for these novels or those kind of books. But like, and I was, I mean, in my like maybe my early 20s and all this thing, I was working in the Middle East, Dubai for around 20 22 years. So that time, like to be very frank with you, I lost my connection with reading books and all this thing. Then I came back to India maybe like around 8 years back. Then I wanted to read more books. I had like a small library at my home. So, but now, there is a big change in the technology. So, whereby like, I come to know more of like, books and the YouTube and, all those kind of facilities whereby we don't have to read in regular thing. We can have this access to the audio files and all these things. So, in short, I still feel, reading the books gives you more imagination. Like, you can pause it, you can think about a little bit, you can read, start again. So those way, if I look at it, reading books is always better. And I miss my old days when I used to read a lot of books. But nowadays, I'm giving some excuse like saying I don't have time and I don't get a lot of books to read at the moment. But I'm like reading audio books more than more like now that's what I can do now with the available time left on me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, can you tell me, like, do you have any, like, is your favorite author that you have been reading?
Yeah, I always like the books as I mentioned to you earlier. Like it was like philosophy kind of books. So I used to read the books of some Indian authors, especially from the Kerala side. So I used to like these Ravi Kumar books. Then I used to like Vaishak and Tampi. Those kind of books, like I prefer to read more in these days.
Okay. Okay. So, what inspired you to write this book, sir?
Yeah, this is, I understand this, my book is completely academic book, which is, I would say like, say more like a guide to the students and the parents, like, how to opt for a better opportunity, like in their careers. It's not like, you're just going abroad and getting some education, which you can get in India as well. So I'm trying to get more options for the students, can have better education. Education gets you to the careers. Education gets you the global exposure of yourself. So end of the day, like many students they kind of want to go for academic excellence. They want to go to the research and stuff like that. And many, like I would say, like more than 60% of the students they prefer to have better careers. So I just thought I will give open up this subject so that more students and parents are aware the options available abroad as well. Obviously, they might be available the options in India. So I want them to know the options available in abroad, how to get there, and how to get the scholarships. Then they can decide whether they want to continue like the education in the similar situations here, or they can experience a different world. So I thought this many of the students when I meet them for the first time they say like they lack guidance. They don't know what to do and how to do. And there is a lot of
Exactly.
like consultancies, agencies, and some of them are not really informed. So when they are giving some ill informed informations, and students or the like parents they kind of confused. And in some cases some of them lose a lot of money as well. So I thought to give a clarity in the picture of how the business happens, and you don't have to lose any money. Instead, you may get money from some of the universities who give full scholarship, and the eligibility for you to study for free. And some of the universities they give some funds to you as well. While you study, they gave you some funds for you to study, so that you can contribute to their country's economy as well. So it's in general, I would say, like, it is more of an information for the students to make a decision which which could make their life for the next 20 to 25 years to make a better career.
Okay. Okay. Sure. So this was a mixture of your personal life and about the book, and now let's get deeply into the some questions related to how a student should actually move and how they can get benefit in scholarships, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So
Yes,
let
yes,
me know.
very much. Yeah, that is what I was looking at as well. Because as I
Yeah.
mentioned to you, I have like around 20, 22 years of managerial experience, those companies. And I know what the employees are looking at from the candidates, and the candidates should have their, skill set ready when they go for their interviews and all these things. Get the skill set, they need to know where the demand is. So we are going to talk about the demand and supply and
Right.
what is the skill set, what the portfolio. These are the things required for the students to get into a better career.
Sure. So, my next question is what are the current trends in international education and how do they impact Indian students?
Oh, yes, the trends I would say, there is it's like we are living in the world of computers, so computers are if you look at the 10 years of evolution, so we were using all normal regular phones. Nowadays everybody is having the smartphone, and it is like it's like you're having a mini computer in your hand. So the world is changing. So artificial intelligence, that could be the key word for the next 10 to 12 years, I could see in the future, so any field, if you are whether you are into technological area, or if you're in healthcare, or even if in managing, or even if you are in the banking segment, everything is already in the artificial intelligence world. So the computers will help humans to make better decisions, and they can they can analyze the data in bulk and give you the informed decisions for the management as well. So the trend is showing this artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and I would say robotics. This is going to be the way for not only for technology, as I mentioned to you, even for any other field. These are the key areas I could see. So this is the trends, and India being one of the most populous country, and India will be benefiting from this high-end technology use. In you could see that coming in very near future, because Elon Musk, who is the world's richest person, and he's developing all the programs through AI. And he's once we never thought of going to thinking about moon. Now we have already gone to the moon, and we are already planning to go to the Mars within like the next 10, 20 years time. So the technology is increasing very huge way, and that is not only developing the technology side, but it is improving this medical or healthcare or even the management business side as well. So trend is definitely artificial intelligence, I could say.
Correct. So,
Yeah.
right. So, next in my mind, the question is what challenges might Indian students face in adapting to the global education landscape and how can
Yeah.
they prepare?
Yeah, it's very simple. The adaptation is very important. So apart from this climate and the money management and all these issues, I mean adaptation in academic way. So when you talk about academics in India, India has an excellent academics. And when I talk with these professors of these universities coming from these foreign universities, they look at our syllabus and say that the universities keep this syllabus, and it's very very heavy for the students, and it's very high-end kind of quality education what we are providing to our students. But what I find the difference is we are more focused on a theory-based education rather than going to the practical-based education. So when I was in Europe last 2 weeks back. So I had an opportunity to visit many of the universities in Latvia, or Germany, Italy, and many other countries. So when I go there and I can see the attitude change of the the students and the curriculum makers, they give more importance to the practical training rather than students going in for the exam with this high hold of syllabus. And what happens, when you have to study a lot of syllabus, a lot of heavy material, you spend most of your time in, like, kind of by hearting all the chapters and the papers and all these things. And, thereby you are resulting in good marks by presenting your thought over process over the exam papers. Whereas in many of the foreign universities, I could see, like, they're not really bothered about the exams. They are instead, actually, they are allowing the students to do the exams, open by exam. They can use calculators, they can use laptops, and they can use all these facilities because they are not focusing on the exam papers. Instead, they're focusing on the assessment papers. So they give a problem, real life problem, and they give this problem to the students, and the student has to solve the problem individually. Even they cannot copy from other student as well because the every problem is different. So this kind of approach allows the students to learn it quickly, and it allows the employer, the future employer, to recruit a student, thereby he can get the job immediately. The employer don't have to waste his time in training the student as well, because the student is already aware of many practical things. Because I have seen many of the engineering students in India, if somebody is doing some electronic engineering, and if he if some bulb is getting fused, he has to change a bulb. If it is just change a bulb, he could do it. But if there is an electrical connection lost and all these things, he will ask, okay, call up electrician and do it. So we can't do it because we are not doing the basics of the education. So whereas in this education, the student, if he's engineering student, he has to physically, literally do all this trying and testing. So when he's passing out as a graduate, then he knows, what is it you're talking about. You don't have to call an electrician to fix a small thing. So there's a change in the attitude of the education system. I hope India will also follow this very shortly.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's very true. So the next question is, what unique opportunities does the US offer for international students, particularly Indian students?
Yeah, US means opportunities. It's a world of opportunities. I would call, it's a melting pot of all cultures and nationalities, because everybody's dream is to go to USA. But we know in USA, the main hindrance is like visa. Visa interview is a little tough on that one. So that was one of the major reasons. But when you mention about Indian students, I could see that, still, even now we are going to talk about Canada or UK or other popular countries later on.
Mhm.
US still seems to be sending highest number of students as international students to USA, because India has edge, because our quality of education is excellent. As I mentioned earlier, the syllabus is excellent, so our students is easily able to cap up the US system. And when you are going to talk about USA is encouraging students from the technology stream. I could say, they're talking about technology stream, they're talking about the engineering stream, they're talking about mathematics stream, and they're talking about this science stream. So if students are coming from this industry, this area of education, there's a lot of opportunities out there, and US government is giving very good option for them. They can stay for probably 3 years after their education. Once they complete their education, they can stay 3 more years in USA, and
Right.
they can start working in companies where they have studied these courses. And they need to absorb the students, because USA is not short of people, but a USA is short of skilled people. So when we are sending good people from India, and US is able to enable them with a lot of skills on these fields, we call it STEM, STEM. So if you have these qualities and if you are from this field, USA gives a lot of opportunities for Indian students.
Right. So now let's come to the next question. That why has Canada become a popular destination for Indian students? As Canada
Yeah,
is a bigger home
I think
country.
we all know there is yeah, exactly, yeah, there is some issues going on with Canada, but I would say there is nothing to do with their academics. We are talking about academics of Canada. We are talking about the students of India. So there is no problem of academics of Canada, and the students are still focusing on Canada. The issue in Canada is basically more largely into this political issues, and all political issues, they they end up by one of the elections. I think the next election, general elections in Canada, is happening in the early next year. So hopefully by over that election, the problems is solved. Again, students can fly there to Canada. Coming back to why Canada was popular or is popular now for Indian students is like, the system of Canada following. Canada is having two kind of education system. One system is as regularly known as the university system, and another system is the college system. We call it as community colleges. And when it comes to the university is more focusing on the research materials. So students who wants to go for their research, they want to like pursue as a scientist kind of thing. They can always go for this Canadian college. I mean, I would say the university system, and they can have excellent academic career ahead of them. And as I mentioned to you, like most of us is like looking for a better career. So Canada offers an excellent system for these community colleges in Canada. So when you can say community colleges is like it's like government colleges as well as like private colleges. And the system what they follow is like a three-tier system. When the three-tier system is like this local body government is involved, industries are involved, and the government and education ministry is involved. So these three departments are working together, and they see in particular province which are the industries they are flourishing, and what are the employees age now, and what are the employees going to resign after 5 years time. So once they know in industries like forestry or agriculture, they can see like the industry is huge in Canada, and the all the people are working is like about 5 plus, so they can expect within 5 years time many of them are going to retire. So we need to like around 50,000 people more maybe within 5 years of time. So they will make their syllabus accordingly. They will give more focus to the forestry or agriculture, and they will design the courses accordingly. And this will change each and every province. So when you're talking about Ontario, Ontario is talking totally different progress, all showing us like tourism because it's very near to the US, and so there is a lot of advantages on that one. But when you're talking about Saskatchewan kind of province, it is a little remote kind of province, and they have a lot of mining happening. But if you're talking about like areas other than that, there is like some French areas are like the Quebec areas are there. So those areas they're looking for like more of a fashion kind of thing, fashion designing, those kind of course. And there, if you're going to come to Alberta kind of region, they're talking about like petrochemicals. So it's a mixture of it. So there is
Right.
Canada is still a beautiful country, and there's a lot of opportunity. And I hope in like in a 6 months' time, Canada will be back to normal, and students will be more than happy to go to get the Canadian visas.
Okay, right. So
Yeah.
now let's come to the next question with the next country. That what are the benefits of studying in Germany for Indian students, especially in technical and scientific fields?
Yes, straight away, the advantage is like we don't have to pay any fees in Germany because Germany offers free education for everybody, not only for Germans, but for Indians as well. We don't have to spend any money. And German universities are like top ranked. If you're looking at the top ranked 100 universities, you can find many of the German universities in that one. So it's a public universities. German government is ready to give any amount of money the college requires, and they're not charging any single penny from the Indian students or any other students, that matter. Only thing you need to have good education, academic background. You need to have your English proficiency good, and other only academics things matters for Germany. And especially when you talk about the science and the technology students. And for science and technology students, Germany is welcoming more and more people because they have skill shortage, acute skills shortage. And they are even giving visas for students or any other people, job seekers visa. You can come if you have a skill, you can get placed. So especially when students are going with an education, and people want to settle down there, they can go there, and there is a lot of startups being opened in Germany, and German government is promoting it. And one of my colleague who went there in Germany, and he's doing a startup now. He's working with the pacemakers for patients who have like heart issues and all these things. They started a different team on that one, and that is growing good market out there. So they're even promoting Indians. They're not like only for Germans we are doing it. They're doing it for everyone, and startups are doing it, and they're giving like a lot of stipends for the students. And it is like you go there, you learn the language, and you complete your education, then the opportunities are like flowing onto you. So Germany is definitely for students who are into like biochemistry, or people who want to make some. If you might be knowing, like all the hospital equipment, surgical equipment, they're all imported from Germany. So somebody has to think about it, or somebody has to work on the R&D. Or if you're talking about the cars, automobile, like BMW or Benz, everything from Germany. So Germany, you like synonymous to technology. So Germany for India is always a green or signal for them.
Okay. So now, please tell me that what makes Australia an attractive study destination for Indian students?
Yes, Australia, like it is a continent. Like we were talking about all the time. Germany is part of Europe. The big continent. And when it comes to Australia, it's a continent itself. You might have heard about Papua New Guinea or New Zealand along with that one. So and continent means it needs everything. All the resources has to be there, and people has to be fed equally. So even if you are taking about this healthcare industry or aviation industry or mining, petrochemical or pharmacy or management, everything is there. And Australia has very small population. Australia has a population of like around 2.5 crores only. And like Indian population is, I think we all aware, 140 crores close. So there is a very small population in Australia, and they need a lot of people. And Australia offers highest salary, and Australia offers highest part-time job rights, and Australia offers the longest stay back period for them. And one more thing Australia offers is like highest scholarship. So students who are willing to go to Australia, they get all the number one thing, the best universities. And Australia is only, by the way, only 40 universities compared to USA, or they have 5,000 universities plus. So only 40 universities, and all, out of these 40 universities, all these 25 universities are in the top 500 universities. So you can imagine the quality of education what they do, and you don't have to bother about getting a career in Australia. You need to go there, you need to study, and you just go and settle out there. Only problem is, even though Australia is a good country and Indians are looking for a lot of Indians are looking for higher education in Australia. Australia immigration is very strong and strict. So when you are selecting a course, you need to be really careful which course you are selecting. Because if you are looking for any just normal regular course, which you could do it in India as well, probably they will ask, why you need to study this specific course in Australia. So you should be able to tell them your career focus as well. And you need to have your parents' income, finances, everything set accordingly. If everything is there, the first choice is always Australia for Indians.
Okay, great. So, so now, what cultural or academic differences should Indian students anticipate in the UK and Ireland?
Yeah, I think when you're talking about UK and Ireland, it's mostly Indians there. So because yeah, I can see that, yeah, last time one of my like a colleague in UK was saying, there are many Indians in UK nowadays, because it's not like before. Even we got our prime minister from India. So that was the situation in UK. So you don't have to worry about the cultural differences and all these things. It's Europe. So, students need to adjust a little bit about their the climate thing. But other than that, you can have a lot of churches, mosques, and temples in in UK and even Ireland. So cultural thing, I think UK and Ireland could be easiest place for Indians to kind of accommodate themselves. The education system is a little different, as I mentioned to you earlier. Education is like they work more on assessment and assignments rather than the exams kind of thing, and they like students to the skills of presentation skills, how to do the seminars, how to do classes for others. And by the time they finish like 1 year or 2 years their education, they are good to go, they're good students. So adapting to Ireland and UK, and we know they all speak English and we speak English. So I think that is pretty easiest thing for our students to.
Okay. So, how can Indian students improve their chances of securing scholarships in the US, Canada, Germany, Australia, the UK, and Ireland?
Yeah, plus many other countries as well.
Yeah.
All these countries are developed countries. They're rich countries. They don't need to excuse us, for their economy, But they are giving a good quality education. They are charging the tuition fees accordingly. What happens, when the students are asking for scholarships, the universities or the government is thinking, why should we give the scholarship to the student? So then it comes the answers. One is the academics, and the other thing is their language proficiency and how good they are at the projects. So what they want to know, whether the student is skillful, they can handle something individually and as a team. So they would like to see the students to make their portfolio. So if the student is going to go for their masters in these countries, they need to start working on their first year onwards to make their portfolio. So when they make the portfolio where they are good at, and they can put some examples on that one, they can say make some video recordings of that one, and by the end of them, earlier we used to have this all this paper kind of book kind of all these presentations and all these things. But nowadays, universities asking the portfolio in video. So but you need to work on it because it's that you are making about your story, So you need to have a CV in a video format. And if you have your growth to be shown on that one, that is good thing. So that can enhance your chances of your scholarships. Definitely your language skills. Like if you have to perform better, you need to know a very good English skill if you're going to go into an English speaking country. So IELTS, TOEFL, PTA, Duolingo, there are a lot of exams in that one. You show them, I know English, and there's a certificate in that one. So that is a better way of it. So it's all about knowing about you and presenting about you. That will get you more scholarships. You need to have some publications in journals, you need to have your art, you need to have your works done. And if you have done some charity works, especially Europeans or Americans, they like people doing the charity work. So if you're really going to some hospital or some of your social care projects and all these things, that takes you huge in your scholarship amounts. Easiest way I will tell you, apply early so you can get early scholarship of around maybe $1,000, which is equal to approximately 80,000 to 1 lakh rupees. So that's the easiest thing one can do. Difficult thing and bigger amount of scholarships, you need to work hard.
So, what financial planning steps should student take before applying for scholarships?
Yes, financial planning is very key. It depends on the country where you are choosing as well. If you are talking about countries like some of these non-English speaking countries, financial planning is not that tough actually. But if you are talking about countries like Australia and New Zealand and probably Germany and Ireland. So these countries you need to really plan in advance because these countries not only look for the students' academic performance because we need to have their visas done as well because we as Indians we are going to a developed country and those countries want to make sure that you guys are coming there for studies and once your education as well as your trainings are over you will be staying in those countries legally only. You otherwise, once you are kind of done everything, you will come back to India. They want to make sure that one they don't want any illegals to be staying in those countries. So what they want to make sure the students who are coming to those countries where they especially Australia and Ireland, they want to make sure the students are coming from a family where they have financially sound. Okay, so they will ask for the financial background of the parents as well. So the students' parents they need to do their income tax returns, IT returns, and they need to be not only for just this current year, they need to be having at least 3 consecutive years. So the students who are doing their first year of education, they need to start asking their parents to do their income tax returns, ITR. It need not be a huge amount, let it be the smaller amount, whatever it is. For that, the financial planning is important. So, first year, second year, and by the time the student is ready for their going abroad, their 3 years, ITR, income tax returns documents are ready. This is one key element. Second element is those funds, some of the universities and the countries, they don't want the money to come somehow from someone. They want the money to be with their parents or the student's account for the last 6 months or 1 year. So you need to plan the amount to be in their account. They can transact with them. That's no problem. But this amount has to be their own money. They don't have to borrow the money from friend or relatives and all these things, and make the student fly, and after flying the students, the parents get into trouble, so they don't allow that one. Other than that, I mean, what they do allow is like bank loans, educational bank loans. They do allow. They don't allow the agricultural loan or gold loan or house loan, nothing like that. Only educational loans. Those the loans they agree. So for those things, you need to prepare a little in advance what they lack, and if they have the civil score low for them or their parents, they have to improve it. So financial planning is very key, but that is again, as I mentioned to you, like depending on the country. If you are planning to go to UK, they don't have much questions on that one. If you're going to planning to go to probably on Canada, they don't have many problems on that one. But when you're talking about those countries which I mentioned earlier, like Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, they're very specific on that one. So again, depending on the country, but financial planning is like very important for the students.
Right. So, what are the key steps in the admission process for international students?
Generally speaking, it is very simple. Like you need to have your all academics, your 10 certificate, then your grade 12 certificate, and if you're a graduate, you need to have like all your mark list and provisional certificate or your completed certificate. All your transcripts are ready, that is pretty much it. You need to have a passport. You need to have done a like SOP, which is means statement of purpose, which is again like one paper or two paper sheet about explaining about who are you, and we can keep a resume together with that one. So that is pretty much it. So if you have the marks, eligibility, and those things, like those are the basic eligibility kind of thing. But if you want to know more about it, like you need to have some English proficiency. If you're going to English speaking countries, if you're going to Germany, it's better that you learn German. If you're going to
Right.
France, it's good that you learn French. Those language proficiency are also important. And some of the exams they will ask for like GMAT exams, GRE exams. For Italy, for medicine exam, they will ask for probably IMAT exam. So these are the exams are there. And for those students who are going for their UG undergrad courses, they probably they need to do like SAT exams for USA, and for Germany they will ask for a testas exam. So these are all preparation things. So I would say like you should start at least 1 year before, so that you can reach to a country of your choice and reach to a university of your choice.
Okay. So, like, it's very simple to get
Yes,
admission and to go. Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay. So, what are some effective strategies for Indian students to manage their expenses abroad?
Yeah, this is very simple. Indians are very good at it because, as I mentioned, I was in Europe last 2 weeks back, and I saw all the students, Indian students. They are good. They are good because they know how to make money, and they know how to manage their money as well. Because you can work in these countries at part time. They can work around 20 hours per week, and on a college days and all these things, and probably they can work around 40 hours, like when there's holidays in Easter and Christmas time. So they can, on an average, they can earn around 80 to 100,000, which is like 1 lakh, 80K to 1 lakh per month while they're studying, they can earn. And probably they can earn double the amount when they are on holidays like Christmas and Easter. So they have enough money. Probably they need to spend like around 40, 50,000 per month for their food and accommodation. And the rest of the money they can use it for their like, other expense and all these things. But I find like many of the students they take like educational loans from India and go abroad. So what happens, they some of the students, even if they are not able to pay in full, they are able to pay the interest side of it, while they're working. They can complete their food and accommodation expenses, plus they are able to support their parents as well by paying the interest amount of it. So if the student is going for their part-time work rights and they're using it, then nothing to worry about it. If not, the parents has to send money for their food and accommodation, which is around, depends on the country, but it is going to be around the 40 to 50,000 approximately per month. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And so now next question comes as what are some effective ways for students to improve their language skills before studying abroad?
I mean, as I mentioned to you, language proficiency is very key because in abroad, like if you go there, no one speaks Hindi or any regional languages of India. They will be talking about their languages and English. English is very common. Like any countries I've been there, like I've been to around 12 countries when I made my last European visit. Every word English is spoken and every word English is written. Even in the subways, metros, trains, play airports, every word English is there. So if you have solid English knowledge, you can survive. But you need to get jobs and all these things. You need to have like another local language. That's a different story. But to go there to get the language, you need to like if somebody is like in the Hindi medium or like Tamil medium or Malayalam medium kind of students, they need to start studying in English. They need to go for like as a beginning, I would say like spoken English classes. And if they're really be better, then they should go for IELTS, which is like English training courses, PT, lot of exams. And they don't have to go to a coaching class necessarily in the beginning. They can go for the YouTube videos. And I have in my website also have some YouTube videos given for this IELTS training and all these things. So just go there and try to see like whether you're able to catch those English words, whether you're able to make frame a sentence, some small things. But if you're in a hurry, like within 2 months time you need to get the IELTS, then you are like in a hurry. But if you are planning a little advanced, like 1 year before or so, then you have time to learn without any problem. Generally, like they don't want to know very much grammar and all these things, but instead they want to know that you are able to speak confidently, you are able to complete a sentence, those kind of things. So try learning small sentences like that, and you can catch up on that one. If you want to survive in those countries, any other countries other than India, you need to have English. There is no doubt about it. So you start learning English from your college or school days itself, then that will get you a lot of scholarships, and that will get you along in your life as
Right. So, like we say, confidence is the key to do anything, either to get succeed or to do anything in life.
well. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Similarly with language. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so comes to the next question. That's it's quite similar. Like, how does the IELTS exam serve as a gateway to global opportunities?
Yeah, it's as I mentioned to you like in earlier, IELTS is like I am version of English. But same English only. Like there's only one English. Like whether it's British English or American English, anything like it's only one English. And some people they last time they asked me like there's Indian English, like and I was like surprised to know that some of the English words as like Indian different meanings, or Indian English words as like different like eggplant and brinjal kind of thing. The brinjal I came to see that there is no word in English, but in India they use like brinjal as like so there are many other words like in the local languages you can see that but English in general in one language only. And as there is some differences between the spoken English like in every word, so there is a certification program which is called IELTS, International English Testing Language System, by which a person who does not know you in person wants to see whether your English proficiency is good or not. You can look at the certificate and say that you're like 6.0, you are good at it, 6.5, or you are 7.0, you're excellent, or you are at 8.5. You're a good score. So you don't have to speak to you, you don't have to do an interview with you to see whether you are good in English or not. So IELTS enables like globally everywhere in the world the same certificate is accepted. So that is a good way of like global market everywhere. Like some like there are other tests like I like Duolingo, or I could say like TOEFL or PTE. There are so many tests are going on. But I could say that IELTS is like globally every country is like unanimously they accept this one. So IELTS is like I would say like in India all this IELTS is like it's like a standard stream is there. So students like the coaching system is there, the coding system is there. So it is not that difficult nowadays in India to get through this IELTS. So IELTS not only gives you options like for studying only. It gives you option like for employment. For those guys who are looking for an employment, they need to have IELTS in these English speaking countries. And like if you're looking for permanent residency, PR, they also they everybody's preferring IELTS. So IELTS is always good. I always recommend students to do IELTS, even though it is not required. Like some other countries, like in France, it is not required, or I could say like Austria, it's not required. In Germany, some of the courses not. But I always tell them English is base for Indians. To when they go abroad, this is the only weapon we have. This is the only language we have to fight for. So IELTS or any English language proficiency is a must for all students, or those guys who are looking for jobs, should take for.
Right, sir. So,
Yeah.
what are the main takeaways for students considering studying abroad?
In one word, international exposure. Like they get to like see a world which is like beyond India. Like, when we are in India, even though India has like multiple diverse what you call cultures and the systems and we have, but we are all kind of united. We know what another Indian will look like, what another will think like, and what is the business is going to be like. And we have a kind of Hindi as a common language, so everybody can incorporate and we can talk, everything. But when you are outside India, you are not interacting with the people of the same culture. You are talking about somebody who does not know the value systems. Probably we are talking about like God, goddess, and all these things. As great thing, but for them that might not be an important thing at all. So you need to open up your eyes. You need to see what world is looking at, and the world is looking at for like personal space of an individual. Like they want to give as many freedom to a person as much it can, and that should not hurt others. So this is the thought process they are looking at, and they are making things so that a person's life is easier. So all the business, all the motto, everything goes like this. How can a person be at maximum comfort level, whether it is a business, whether it's a person or anybody. So there are products coming accordingly, like all the science is developing, all the cosmetics industry is developing like that, and even the education industry is developing like that, because whatever the needs the people has it, so we are taking care of those needs. So those are like earlier when you asked me about the trends, like what is going on in international education. Actually, when you connect both these things together, actually it is like how to make money, whether it is like a medicine, whether it's going to be in technology, whether it's going to be business. The roles could be different, but you should be able to make money by making one's life simpler. So when we are trying to make a person's life simpler, that's why all these developments are coming into place. And when
Right.
you have this kind of information, this kind of exposure, then you are going to get good jobs in those countries. And not only in those countries, like if you look at the Middle East like Gulf, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, those countries also looking for students coming from those countries educated so that they can get better placed. Actually, I'm surprised to see that in India also, like when you're getting for a job interview and all this thing, if somebody is coming with an Australian educated or US educated, you can you are sure like this guy is like definitely on like top range in between. Like when you have an interview going on, you'll be selecting those guys like in front of the other Indian educated student. So this education is gives the value for your career even in India. So always abroad education gives you better exposure and better career options as well.
Right. So now let me know, like, how does studying abroad help Indian students contributing to the more interconnecting and globalized world?
Yeah, it's again like it's all part of the benefits what we are getting from this abroad education. Like when you call networking is like if you're talking about a global business, we are talking about a global industry, like whether it's going to be like medical or doctors conference or any technocrats, anything like they need to know the people abroad. They need to talk about the changes happening and all these things. When you are studying in a college for like 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, you are with the students with different nationalities. After education, many of them are going back to, some of them will go to China, some of them will go to US, some of them will go to France, and some of them will be going to Australia. And you are getting connected already. Whether you are going to work in like after your studies in Australia, you decide to work in Canada. Still, you have your friends working and staying in different countries and the globe, all over the globe. So you are interconnected to everywhere. So this exposure is huge. That's why, like those people who have studied abroad, they will come back to India. Still, they can run a successful business because of their human networking. So this is a very good thing, and many people go for abroad education only to make this like kind of networking as well.
Right. Okay. So these were a few questions from my side, and now हम आपकी बुक के लिंक को नीचे डिस्प्ले कर रहे हैं ताकि लोग जाएं और आपकी बुक को रीड करें और समझें. Connecting to success, study abroad, give wings to your higher studies with scholarships. Thank you so much for joining the book launch event. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining and watching us. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe. ऐसे ही हम न्यू बुक्स और उनके ऑथर्स के साथ आते रहेंगे. Thank you.